I love when people are like, "Oh, if you complain when it's cold, you can't complain when it's hot." Fucking watch me.
I will do what I want.
Freeze my nuts off, burn my nuts off.
There's no in between.
There is no happy medium.
Yeah,
I will never be pleased.
It's
To-
ridiculous.
To err is human, but to complain is Edmontonian.
And complain. It's the most Edmonton thing you can do.
Yeah. That one building. Yeah.
I actually got taken out by a pothole.
No.
Yeah.
What do you mean taken out?
Like finally, in my 27 years of living in the city, taken out.
Oh, no.
Taken out.
Pause for a second.
Yes.
Resume the same conversation like we did in pause. Okay.
Yeah.
What happened with your pothole?
I hit a fucking pothole going like 85 kilometers an hour. And as soon as I hit it, I was like, oh no.
There's a feeling you get when that the impact happens, you just go,
Like you know how like you hurt your car
yeah.
and
oh,
like
yeah.
you hurt physically too?
Yeah.
That's what happened. So,
And you probably have a nice car too.
no.
No?
But yeah, anyways, fucking
But yeah, anyways.
fucking
That's I mean, there's so many. Here's the ones that most recent one that got me, and I don't understand. Like speed bumps can get fucked as far as
I agree.
I don't like them, but the ones that are huge, I had one that was like gigantic where you like really pop up
Yep.
and dropped into a pothole after that. I was like, the sound,
no.
the sound it made. I was just my soul hurt. It was shattered momentarily, but luckily. No damage because I didn't look.
That was your axle breaking in half.
It's Schrodinger's car damage. Your car is neither damaged nor undamaged until you look at it.
Until you look at it, yeah.
Damage is relative.
Yeah.
But yeah, those potholes. You know what's worse than the potholes? The scooters are back.
I saw
Fucking
that.
worse?
I thought we
They're
were bringing them back.
everywhere.
I am semi-surprised.
Locusts.
to
Weren't
see
people
them.
setting them on fire and shit?
Wow, that was just the most Edmonton thing you can do.
Yeah,
Back
yeah.
at the beginning where they were like trying to steal the wheels and like trying to huck them off the high level and stuff.
Didn't somebody actually like put one up on blocks and like?
Yeah,
took the
I remember
wheels
seeing
off
that.
and shit?
Yeah.
Amazing.
It's just like, that's cool. What are you going to do with those?
I mean,
I don't
with that
care.
much
That's
effort,
pretty.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, because some people have their own, so maybe they're like, "Oh, I need replacement wheels for my own scooter."
We were talking about the economics of it. They probably pay like, I don't know, $1,000 for those things. They probably make
Yeah.
that money back in a week.
Yeah.
They don't give a shit.
Oh man, no,
Mm-hmm.
not at all. Oh, and they probably have so many.
Oh, yeah.
Like I saw recently, Uber has like a bicycle portion of its business in some places, and they decided to discontinue it or sell it off. But they had thousands of leftover bikes, and they were just like,
Oh, what?
they were just like crushing them because
What?
they were just sort of useless.
Mm-hmm.
Apart from that, but like they mass produce these things.
And then COVID hit, and you could have sold those things for like 300% markup.
Yeah. Yeah.
I can't believe they're back. Well, I mean, I figured they would be back, but like, god damn, I dislike those. I still haven't been on one.
I haven't
Really?
either.
Just
Yeah, I haven't
protesting?
either.
They are kind of handy sometimes.
Yeah,
Oh,
like
they're a fun
I'm
thing to
sure
do,
second
so.
summer I'll probably get on one. First summer I got close, but I never did. But I like to
They're
joke
chipping
about
away
them.
at you.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. Like my favorite thing was seeing dudes doubling on them, leaving construction sites like with like a 12er of pill hanging off the back. And it's like, you guys, nice.
Well, if they keep fucking closing the bars downtown, it's going to be a moot point, I think, anyway.
That's true. Yeah.
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 Right. Right.
I mean, Greta, that's a gamer type bar, so you could imagine the spread, the
Well,
potential spread there.
were the games open?
I don't know.
I would assume no. That's a lot of
It's a lot of
calming,
touchy.
touching. That's a lot
Yeah.
of touchy. Yeah.
I haven't gone to a restaurant or bar yet. Have you guys?
Oh, really? Yes.
Nope.
Yeah.
I have.
How did you like it?
It was fine.
I mean, I've been
was like
doing
a
lots of
little-
other
yeah.
risky stuff, I
Mhm.
guess, like going to stores, but
Well, yeah, that's the thing is we're kind of like selectively risky of like
yeah.
grocery stores basically free for all, but then it's like, okay, I'm going to go sit at a cafe with two other people way over there,
I went to IKEA.
right?
I can't
Yeah.
really see IKEA. People were practically touching you, and it's like, "Ugh, this
Yeah,
is.
yeah.
I like. Am I uncomfortable? Am I not uncomfortable? I don't really know anymore. Should I be uncomfortable?
Yeah.
Can I get it here? Can you get it in a Swedish place?
No.
If meatballs are present,
Also, Sweden.
I don't
kept
think
their,
they were doing meatballs.
Sweden kept their whole country open.
Yeah.
Can't get it in Sweden. There
Yeah,
you go.
well, yeah. I mean,
Impossible.
for a minute you
get it.
couldn't get it. Now,
Anecdotal evidence. Can't get it in Sweden.
well, the Plandemic. I
Yeah,
mean,
exactly. It was all a plan for Sweden to
you know what?
not get it.
The whole thing was orchestrated by TikTok to try and get a broader like age,
Broader
a broader
age
age
and
apparel. Yeah.
audience, yeah.
Because now,
Which is also owned by
Four-
the Chinese.
4
What the
months ago,
fuck?
it would have been unthinkable for people our age to have and post regularly on TikTok.
Yeah.
My
Now,
mind's blown.
it's
right now.
gone through the whole Facebook thing very quickly, where Facebook was like the cool thing, cool edgy thing, and then it was like everyone you know, including your parents and relatives, are on it. Now TikTok is. I wonder if that's really like TikTok was like it was going so well, and then its number of people skyrocketed, but the quality probably just.
Was the quality ever there?
I don't know.
Right.
It's not for me,
Are
and that's
you
the
making
point.
TikToks?
No, not
Okay.
me. No.
Okay. Yeah.
That's the point, though. It's not for me, but everyone. There's a lot of people I know that have them.
Yeah.
And it's like, well,
It's
okay.
for a demographic.
It's
That's
for like
about
little kids to dance and lip sync.
10 years younger than I am.
Yeah,
It is a young demo for sure.
I would even like 10 years younger than I am. I would even say like, aren't you getting a little old for that? 25-year-old Jim. I'm almost 35. 25-year-old Jim would be like, buddy, if I see
Yeah.
you dancing and lip syncing, I'm gonna smack the shit
to
out of
Say
you.
So by Doja Cat. I'm gonna lose it.
And
Yeah.
like, am I aware of that? And have I seen the dance? Yeah. This is part
Which
of
is
the problem.
bad enough. Bad enough for one.
Also,
It's a
buy
whole-
Bitcoin,
it's TikTok.
young Jim.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
I don't know. It's expensive, isn't it?
Now it is.
Yeah, but I mean, 25-year-old Jim could have got in at the fucking.
Oh, when I was back then,
exactly. Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, invest in SpaceX. People would be like, "What is that?"
I'm purposely dumping water on myself. It's fucking hot in here.
It is pretty spicy in here.
It is. It is warm.
The old fucking thermostat says 30 degrees.
Oh, good lord. Yeah.
Woo, baby.
We're sweating out that corona.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
That's right. We're gonna get through this, boys.
Yeah.
I mean, we're almost through it, I guess,
don't
until the
know.
second wave.
Yeah. It looked reassuring, but I don't know.
I got a good topic for you guys. Edmonton is a hub city for the NHL. What do we think about taking families from probably hundreds of cities across the world,
Yeah.
bringing them here,
I'm
and then they tweeted out this video today about why we're such a good city for it.
Mm-hmm.
It was all the Rocky Mountains. It was like play in the Rockies.
that's 4 hours away.
What are you? What? So now they're saying the families they'll take them on excursions to all these places. It's like the whole point of the hub city is there's a small section where the players are and don't
no one
fucking
else.
leave.
Yeah. What? I didn't even see that.
12. It was today. 12 teams worth of players, personnel, and families. I feel like it's a little risky to bring hundreds of people from
yeah.
a bunch of places to the same.
the
Not to
more-
sound like xenophobic or anything.
If everyone could just stay in their own areas,
Countries
yeah.
and
Stay in your quadrants.
Yeah.
stay with your colors.
Team color.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, and the Oilers won't even be playing in Edmonton because whoever is the host city, they don't get the advantages of playing at home.
So where do they
you'll
play?
have in one of the other hub cities. I think there's 2 hub cities, so they'd play in the other one. So your own team's not even there.
2 per conference? Is that?
I'm not sure what it. I think it's.
Is it just 2 period?
I thought it was just 2 cities.
Well, if there's 12 teams, it has to only be 2 cities.
Yeah.
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 So it's like, man, that's a lot of people.
The more I was actually thinking about this today, the more I think about it, because they were talking about, I saw a thing that was like, they'll make a mini Olympic village for them or whatever, and it's like,
Yeah.
they all have to stay there, but like, the more I think about it, the more I'm kind of against it, just because, again, it's bringing all these, because the thing too with this whole pandemic thing is it all needs to be locally treated. That's the problem. And even in like, say, the States, for example, because it's such a big country, there's so many people, to like go at like, okay, what are the numbers in Nebraska versus New York? Like, it's 2 different worlds. Like, you can't compare it, right?
Yeah.
And same would go for Canada and even Edmonton, Calgary, etc., right? So like, now you're bringing all these people. they're gonna mix and mingle. Like unless we have
to
like
some degree, yeah, they're not going to serve themselves at the restaurants.
right, but like they're not gonna bring chicks from Tinder with them, right? Like so
They each get a temperature reader, and they can just be like, "All right, come on back."
like unless they have like armed guards patrolling the hotels, so the
Yeah.
hockey players like stay in your hotel or be playing hockey
Yeah.
or working out and nothing in between.
Tell a bunch of millionaires that get their own way all the time, like,
Yeah.
"Here are the rules, boys."
Yeah.
Get
That you
fucked.
could kindly abide by, please, because we asked you nicely to.
When is it supposed to go down?
I think the training camps open July 10th is their target. I think I read
Is
today.
that what it is? Okay.
Yeah, baseball might not even happen. The players voted against a 60-game season,
Oh, really?
so they might just call it. Because baseball is interesting because some of these guys are making such exorbitant amounts of money, and the owners wanted to do a little bit less than prorated contracts, so they'd be making less than what they would have been making. Sometimes in like the big money years of a deal.
yeah.
So like the Mike Trouts, some people were
Yeah.
saying like you should sit out because it's not worth it for you
Right.
financially to play this shortened season.
Gotcha.
Because the money in
On the
baseball
pure
is
economics,
yeah,
and
yeah.
it's so ridiculous, right? So yeah,
well
especially in baseball.
for a 162 game season, you play a 60 gamer. It's like that's not really. The
Yeah.
whole thing about baseball is that it's like an extraordinary amount of games.
It's like a third of the season. I guess.
Yeah.
yeah.
But all the other sports seem like they're kind of on the way back.
Yeah.
Basketball, maybe.
F1's
Yeah.
trying.
F1's trying.
They're
yeah.
trying.
I feel like
Socially,
Cars would be
social
pretty
distances are
easy.
pretty good.
Yeah.
Probably do that pretty well in separate vehicles.
wearing separate vehicles, big ass full face helmets, you're probably okay.
Any crashes, you got to get tested.
Yeah, I think the issue with that one though is the crowds, but obviously they're going to take
Yeah.
that out
There's
of the
no crowds,
equation.
right? So-
Yeah, I've heard that for like NASCAR, there was one with just like 1,000, then 5,000. But those
Yeah.
are always in huge spaces too.
Yeah, massive. Daga, bro. We got to go down to Daga.
Yeah, well, that's on right now, isn't it?
I don't know.
There's one. The only black driver had a noose thrown in his garage at Talladega.
Oof.
Really?
Yeah, Bubba Watson.
Well, if it was going to happen somewhere,
I think is his name.
probably be in fucking Alabama.
Well, that's
I
yeah.
guess.
I mean, yeah, right.
Yeah.
He's got Black Lives Matter written on his vehicle, and I think he was the one who pushed for the Confederate flag to be removed. So I think there's probably some angry white people in certain areas of the world.
About those two things, perhaps.
the northwestern United States.
Well,
Uh,
I mean,
yeah, they. Oh, I was looking at a listing the other day, and it was like an acreage listing. In one of the bedrooms, the blanket was just a big Confederate flag
Oh
blanket.
my-
I just started laughing. I'm like, what can you do?
all right.
Yeah.
That's
But
not
I'll-
even our country, bro.
Well, that's
Yeah.
yeah. You know what? Like,
One of my favorite comics and friend in town, Natasha Lynn Miles, has a bit about that where it's
Yeah.
like, you wake up from a Tinder date and you see the Confederate flag and you're like, not only are you an idiot, but like you're bad at geography. There's a lot of racist shit around here that you could probably jump onto without going all the way to the southern U.S.
it is a weird, like, I don't know. I think lots of people do it just to be contrarian, but it
Yeah.
is a weird thing for Canadians to hop on that one, I guess. I don't know.
I think so too, because it's like, I don't know.
Why?
Yeah.
Just be edgy.
Yeah.
That's
too
exactly
edgy.
it, right?
Just wear
So-
a shirt that says like I dislike Indigenous people or something. That'd be pretty much the same. That'd be like the Canadian version of that, where you're just like, what are you doing? You're like you're showing your full hand with how you with
Right.
what you're wearing.
Yeah.
No one's like, I wonder if this guy's a racist. Just like I wonder how racist this guy is. When you see a guy wearing a Confederate flag
Yeah.
around his shoulders,
Yeah.
And then there's Jim wearing a white T-shirt.
wearing a white T-shirt. That's about as neutral, and black pants together.
Oh, as one.
Ebony and ivory, my friends.
Yin and yang.
The tranquility of all things.
That's me. Jim, the tranquility of all things
Yeah.
Kerr.
So
Amazing.
actually, on that note, so speaking of comedians and normal logical jump here, have you gotten back on stage yet at all? Like, I know the comic strips open.
Yeah, I did one Zoom show like earlier on in the thing.
Oh,
It's actually not bad.
yeah. How'd that go?
Like there was like
I
six
didn't watch
people.
them, but I saw them being done.
Yeah, it's not the best, but
You have
just
no
fucking
feedback of if
have my
it's
notes right there in
funny,
front of me. No
I
one
guess.
can tell. No, I mean the people. There was like six people. They all left their mics on, so you could get. If it was any bigger than that, the mics on thing would be like, shut the fuck up.
It would
So you
just
know
echo.
hear some laughs and stuff. It was, but
Interesting.
it wasn't like the same at all.
You're like, you make a joke, then you're like watching the comment section for people to be like, ha ha ha
Yeah.
ha.
Well, and I've heard of like people watching the comments, and it's like, let me know when this guy's done. It's like you're the comic, you can see it, and you're like, well.
You're like, God damn it.
Yeah.
You getting heckled everywhere.
Yeah.
Doesn't
Well,
even
Yeah,
matter.
you can't escape.
I feel
can't
like
escape,
you can't get heckled. Well, you can escape if it's in your own house. You just
I
like
guess.
fucking minimize the window, out of the situation.
Yeah.
Done. I did one show in a field as well. There's a group in town that's called Getaway Gigs, and
Okay.
they normally do bands where you can like book a band to show up, and they like have this rad van
Oh, okay.
with a stage behind it.
Okay.
So we
okay.
did it in a field somewhere
Cool.
near a person's house, and that was actually really fun. There was
Yeah.
like 20, 30 people there.
What
So-
about, is that the same thing as those like barbecue or, no, not
fire
barbecue.
pit?
Fire pit.
Yeah, it's similar, like a same
Okay,
same
gotcha,
idea.
yeah.
Yeah. So that I know a lot of people have been doing that stuff. I haven't really done a whole lot,
Oh, I
but
thought,
Yeah.
I thought I
That's-
saw you were doing some of that, no?
I did one
Oh,
of the
okay,
one
gotcha.
in the field there,
Okay.
and next to a playground, which I don't know if that was appropriate. It was me and two other comics who don't have child-friendly material.
Yeah. Get
It's like,
moms
wow.
taking their kids to the park, and it's like, oh, look, a show.
Dicks and pussies.
Yeah.
What? Holy shit! That's not even a joke.
He just said dicks and pussies. It's kind of funny, but my kids
Performance
shouldn't
art.
hear this. Yeah.
So yeah, I know that the strip's open again. I think it's been going pretty well. Like Alex Fortin, friend
Yeah.
of the show, has been up a few times.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
he's
Good for
been
him, good
doing
for him.
he's been doing some spots there. But I'm looking forward to it. I guess I'm really curious to see what bars come back. Like it's going to be a whole different scene, right?
Yeah.
Like ones that
Like what
Didn't
even
go
stays
under,
open?
is that
yeah,
what you're
yeah,
saying?
yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
and
absolutely.
and of the ones that remain, like who's got money to. Well, I mean, I guess you're investing, and hopefully comedy shows bring people in, and sometimes they do.
Mhm.
Sometimes
Well, and
they
then-
do.
What are the
Sometimes they
rules
don't.
even going to be about comics going in and then
Yeah.
tables and capacity?
Well, and
yeah,
do you bring
blah,
your
blah, blah.
own mic? Is someone
Oh,
someone
yeah,
responsible for
right.
wiping her down? All these weird, is that bad for the microphone? Like, are you slowly like burning out all your mics? And then if everyone has their own mic, is there this like awkward like?
Yeah. Because
Yeah.
yeah, there's probably the
Just take the fucking fuzzy off. And
Yeah,
yeah.
could be that.
But then
yeah.
you're touching the thing. I don't know.
So all kinds of little but it's how freaked out you want to be, right? Like we were sort
Right.
of saying earlier, like go to the grocery store this whole time, but I'm like, or even better, I've been ordering out this whole time regularly, probably more than I have been before. But I'm like, should I go to a restaurant? Like, what's the? I've been letting
There's
someone
kind
cook
of
for
the
me.
same number of people touching your food in
Yeah.
theory, right?
Yeah,
So
maybe it can't carry on like objects, but it's still like just as far as like risk aversion, like I'm not going to do this,
yeah.
but I'm fine doing this, and they're both high risk, low risk. Who
Well,
knows?
It's
Who's to say?
It is kind of the never-ending circle of like, okay, you should, you touch your phone, get germs on your phone, you put your phone in your pocket, get germs in your pocket, you take out your phone, you sanitize your phone.
Yeah,
So now the phone's clean, but you put it back in your pocket where there's still germs. Like you can just,
yeah.
it's a dog chasing its tail sort of thing. And then
You can drive yourself crazy.
yeah, and I feel like even one of the big criticisms, at least at the start, whereas like kind of like we were very selective where all these things weren't allowed, but then the grocery store was more or less a free for all, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I don't know.
I think I was talking to a guy at work recently, and it's kind of like driving in the winter, where like you sort of know that most of us wash our hands to a reasonable degree and are like fairly clean. But you have to worry about every other person out there.
True.
Who you're looking around going, I know this person.
Yeah. Which one of these dicks didn't buy their winter tires because they're so cheap and they're texting and driving and
you're waiting all winter for that one moment where you come in contact with some reckless person.
Yeah.
And now you wonder about people who are like anti-mask and stuff. Are they going around like purposely being close to, you know what I mean? Like,
right. Just to
be like,
just to feel
I have a
contrarian.
MAGA hat, even though I live in Alberta, which is in Canada, and I don't vote anyways. Like, fuck, what?
I think you just make people sign waivers and let the chips fall where they may.
Yeah.
I guess, hey?
I don't know. To what extent do you like baby a society, I guess?
Yeah.
Right.
I think there'll be some stuff that sticks and some stuff that like, I don't know if masks will be like a forever thing. I don't think so. Maybe in schools?
Maybe, yeah. I don't know.
Are schools going to be a thing?
Yeah. Will schools even exist anymore?
Post-secondary is all digital, at least for the fall term. I think in Alberta.
I'd say I'd probably wager schools will be all of next year, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which the crazy part about all of this is all the parents who are working from home who are now also teachers.
Yeah.
It's like an insane, like, it's funny, but it's also like, that's a lot of responsibility to put on someone who's working, like they're at their job and they're like, how do I do math? And you're like, I'm in communications so that I've never had to do math again. Yeah, I'm on a call.
I forgot 20 years ago how to do that.
Have you guys been doing a lot of Zoom meetings?
No,
not part of the gig?
Yeah, they just haven't really like come up sort of thing. So
I'm doing a lot.
A
lot of Zoom meetings. I recently got into Zoom backgrounds. You can like make a fancy background. I got The Office, where it's like where Jim from The Office would do his little, side interviews.
Oh,
That's
that
funny.
chair?
That's meta.
That's good.
Right
I like
there.
that. That's meta. That's very meta. Yeah.
It's a new the whole the Zoom thing is it's like, can you hear me is the new hello.
Yeah.
Am I on mute? Good, you? It's like
I would just
I
take a video of myself like nodding my head and then just set that as my background and go do something else.
I want to do one where like I am walking behind myself, where like I'm walking around in the
room.
room.
Cup of coffee or something.
Yeah, and just like really freak people out, Freak out my 8 coworkers.
Yeah. Super creative.
Or do like, I don't even know. Just have like the flames of hell burning behind you.
In the middle of the meeting, or have like smoke starting to come up. People are like, Jim, is everything okay? You're like, yeah, it's fine. Yeah, it's fine. One of mine was Tiger King with a bunch of lasers shooting across the screen.
Okay.
Yeah. So I'm having a lot of fun these last couple of weeks.
Did you watch Tiger
Really
King?
spicing it up a little bit. Oh, yeah.
Did you watch the full series?
Yep.
I did, yeah.
Fuck yeah.
I didn't watch the was it like the 8th episode where it was like when they're all in court? Like it was the one that came out after the first release?
it was like a Skype call.
Yeah.
It was all over FaceTime. It was shitty.
I didn't watch that one.
No.
That was just the
That one
epitome
sucked.
of like
Fuck Carol Baskin.
COVID as well. Yeah. Did
Yeah,
you hear
man.
that they like a court ordered her to take possession of it because they awarded her his, I don't want to say farm, his zoo.
Yeah.
And excuse me. Awarded him his zoo.
Yeah.
And then she like didn't want it, but they're like, no, you have to take it. And I think there were like animals just fucking chilling there and shit.
I think like all that Jeff Lowe dude took all the good animals to a different zoo.
Oh, yeah.
It's just like
That guy
like,
is
what?
just the epitome of a con man. Like, you know it immediately.
do-rag and a hat
Like,
to his wedding, I believe. I think they showed a picture of his wedding, and he's got like the
Like-
double headgear.
the Oakley hat and the do-rag, like, pick a look.
Yeah.
Right? Like,
How big's your truck?
Yeah.
Huge? Wow, I didn't. That's crazy. I would
Wow.
never have thought.
The only thing that I was thinking the whole time, because they would show a lot of the like pictures they take with the tigers, and you can tell there's inbreeding because a lot of the tigers just look dopey. Like they look kind of
Yeah.
fucked up when you look at their faces. So
I think it's also like you're in a cage your entire life. You're
Right.
not supposed to be in a cage
Yeah.
your
True,
entire
true.
life.
Yeah, you're one of the most badass animals. But
Yeah.
like, sorry,
Yeah.
You're
Here's
now in a
let's cuddle with
you're in
here's
a
your
roadside
200
zoo.
fucking square foot cage.
roadside zoo. Yeah,
Yeah.
like it just has to be in buttfuck nowhere towns too, of all things, right?
Yeah, of course you have a lion here. Why wouldn't you?
Yeah, exactly.
And they're all like fucking millionaires because of it too, and you're just like, what?
But that show is like the epitome of like our world right now. Just like glorifying the most ridiculous, stupid shit, focusing on the wrong things, and still being like, it was kind of cool though. And like it was kind of like, I don't know. I watched it. I wish there was more.
I mean, I watched the 8 episodes.
But it was
they got me.
such a great story. Oh shit! What? Oh, my favorite part though was when he was talking about how Jeff Lowe and his girlfriend would go to Vegas with little cubs, sneak them into hotels in suitcases, and then invite all these hot chicks up to their rooms to take pictures. I'm like, this man is brilliant.
God damn.
Yeah.
I keep hearing they're gonna do like a dramatization of it, and like Rob Lowe's or Nicolas Cage or someone. It's like, man, we saw all the real footage.
Yeah.
We don't need a dramatization of it.
Normally you do.
We have the videos of him being like,
too.
I'm gonna kill her.
Yeah, exactly. And the methed out
Yeah.
3-way.
Do the remake in 20 years.
Yeah.
No.
True. That's a good idea.
Like,
You know what
people are
stories?
so fast to do that.
I know. You know what story is apparently getting told? The
Who?
story of John McAfee.
Oh, he's a wild man, is he
He's
not?
just
The internet
crazy
security
fucking
million billion.
Is it pronounced McAfee?
McAfee.
McAfee?
I have no idea.
don't
I think
know.
I've only ever said it in my head.
Yeah.
Because I thought it was McAfee, but I know because there's Pat McAfee, like the football podcast
It's
guy,
spelled the same.
and it's spelled the same, but he pronounces it McAfee, like specifically. So I don't know if John McAfee or McAfee or whatever.
Who gives a shit?
Either way.
Johnny Mac.
Guys did a lot of cocaine.
Oh, yeah.
So should be an
He's done a
interesting
lot
one.
of other hallucinogenics.
I'm
too.
sure he won't get caught up in any Me Tooing. I'm sure he's
Probably
had a lot
not.
of very respectful and consensual.
There's a fucking video of him from like, it would have been like 7 or 8 years ago, and it's like how to uninstall McAfee antivirus on your fucking computer or whatever. It's I have to show you it after. It's hilarious. But
Is that the one where he's like with a bunch of hot chicks in
Yeah.
bed, like
Yeah.
getting undressed?
yeah,
or
and he's
something?
like, back it up, Bartholomew, and he's like, yeah, it's great.
Oh my
It's amazing.
he's pretty wild.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, that's one worth telling. Because
Yeah, I think so.
We have
already
no
know the
idea.
story.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and then he tweeted because he was complaining about they were gonna cast Zac Efron to play him, which we're gonna circle back to why that makes no sense. But then he literally tweets, he's like, "This idiot can't play me in a movie," blah blah blah, and it's like, didn't you have to sign a release form for this movie? Like, why do you not
Yeah.
have a little bit of say? But also, like, I'm just confused of the dynamic here. Also, the movie's set like 20 years ago. 20 years ago, he was like 54. Why is Zac Efron?
Yeah, that's a good. Yeah, yeah. We're gonna use that aging technology that they used on De
Over the
Niro.
Irishman, yeah. Yeah.
Do you imagine Jordan Belfort being like, fucking Leo's playing me? All right.
Yeah.
There's no fucking, you don't have to sign anything.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that'd be a score. He'd be like, all right, that's
I actually listened to him tell that story of kind of how the movie got made in detail, and it was actually pretty interesting.
Yeah.
Because I think it was actually, he met Leo first somehow, and Leo was like, "Oh, you gotta let Scorsese do it," or that was it. Kind of went. That was kind of the hop it made. I don't even know. It was also supposed to be made like almost 10 years earlier than it was, kind of
Really?
thing, or not
Shit.
quite that much earlier, but like there was like a big writers' strike in like 07, 08 or something like that, and that delayed it by like 5 years or something.
Jesus.
I don't know.
That's crazy.
Mhm.
I know he's doing like a bunch of podcasts. He's obviously our competition, podcasting.
Well, yeah,
Yeah,
of course.
no, yeah.
Yeah.
So we're
You
all
got
on
me
the
as a
same
guest.
level
Everyone
here,
else
yeah.
has him. That's
Yeah.
same
Yeah.
level.
Yeah.
But he's also, I don't know, he's also such a like, he's still a shyster. Like, it's not like he's learned any lessons.
No.
Yeah, like he still sells all these like bullshit courses and stuff. It's, I don't know.
I mean, stick with what works, I guess.
stick with what you know,
He's got
right?
like $100 million to pay back or whatever it is.
Yeah, his net worth on Celebrity Network has a dash in front of it because it's negative,
Yikes.
supposedly. So, I don't know.
Got himself in a bit of a hole.
Would you even want to work at that point?
Yeah, like everything's futile unless you like somehow find a backdoor way to pay yourself through
Unless
a
you're
different
gonna make
company.
200 million.
I
It's
guess.
not- like, imagine you make 100
You
million.
have to make
and they're
100
like,
million to
Thank
get
you,
back to
we're
zero.
even. Yeah.
Yeah. Everything.
Thank you. You're still homeless.
Like, God damn.
Thank you. We're even.
Probably cut a deal or some shit. I don't know. I don't know how that works. Don't ever really want to know how that works.
Yeah, I also don't want to know how that works. I want to stay far away from anything like that. Although 100 million is pretty far from where I'm at right now, so
Technically, we are quite a bit wealthier than him. if you
that's a
look at
good
it that
point.
way.
That's a good point. He's got a lot of room to make up.
Yeah.
Mhm.
There's a story about like Donald Trump pointing to a homeless guy, and like this was like the 90s or something, or
I've
early
heard this
2000s, and he was like super in debt. It's like that guy is $900 million richer than I am, or something.
Ooh.
Did you guys see his walk of shame that everyone was kind of turning into a meme? It was after the rally in Tulsa that had.
There's like a ramp or something.
Well, no, that was a
There's a
different
different thing.
Yeah,
Okay.
it was just him walking from his helicopter back to like where he lives,
Mhm.
and it was just like he just looked so dejected. There's a military guy, and he's just like. He just walks, his tie's undone. He's got his hat in his hand. And he looked so sad.
Oh, I didn't
It's
even see
like
it.
it's beautiful.
Well, I heard there's a thing where like apparently TikTok tried to like jack up the numbers of
Dude,
that.
not
the
tried to,
rally or
not
something
tried
like
to.
that, or-
They so the Trump campaign was coming out and saying like this is the biggest data grab in the history because we got 1 million people signed up. We just got all of this data now. 1 million people want to come, but apparently it was a lot of K-pop fans, Korean pop, who are
He's
they're-
huge in Korea.
Well, no, they're just a very influential group of people
Yeah.
online.
Yeah.
So they took over the White Lives Matter hashtag and just filled it with nonsense.
Was
and-
that a hashtag? I didn't even see
Yeah,
that
well,
one.
not in our circles,
Yeah.
but apparently they like teenagers all had like hundreds of tickets to this rally,
Oh, really?
Interesting.
and so this big data grab may have been like a lot of just useless
Right.
information.
But I wasn't kidding. He actually is like mass. It's either Korea or Japan, where it's
Who?
like
Who is?
Trump. Like it's like a meme in Japan
Oh.
or Korea. It's like this.
Like he's massive as in like they think he's an ass.
no, like massive. Like they like adore him. It's fucking weird.
Yeah, I don't know. Well, these K-pop fans number in the like God knows how many, and they seem to be using their power for good, which is really hilarious. But it's not like there was a lot of headlines about Trump getting punked by teenagers at his first rally in months, and that's just fucking beautiful.
Yeah.
TikTok, I told you, TikTok had to get the
True,
strength of
true,
the pandemic to be able to have enough people on it to do the Tulsa thing. It's all Hillary Clinton.
What is his
She's
fucking
behind it.
campaign doing on TikTok? That's a
No, they're not on TikTok.
No, it was like a meme on TikTok. Like everyone buy tickets to this thing.
yeah,
supposedly.
just to like mess with their numbers and make them think that 1 million people were trying to come to.
But wouldn't they, if they're bragging about this data, wouldn't they be like, "Hey, why do so many 17-year-olds like Donald Trump all of a sudden?"
They,
like,
they,
wouldn't
pro-
something
they probably
seem
didn't
like
tell
it's
the
up?
truth
Yeah.
on their
Oh, true.
on their applications.
True.
I feel like
Hi, I'm a
85
17-year-old
years
from
old
Seoul.
sometimes.
What's that?
I said I feel like I'm 85 years old sometimes. Man.
Just like little kids. But I think we're onto something with this TikTok thing. TikTok wouldn't have had the strength in numbers to pull off something without
The pandemic.
the pandemic,
The
which
Plandemic.
forced
And now Hillary Clinton is asking for the
Pizzagate.
Chinese to
Pizzagate.
help the Dems.
Yeah,
Dems
it's
win.
all yeah.
It's honestly all the biggest charade, both sides, frankly. This is so like
Yeah. The biggest conspiracy theory is that like there's a competent government.
yes, exactly. That's
We're all
exactly
like,
it.
yeah, everything's working fine.
Yeah.
Now the layers
Uh,
are being peeled back, and we're like, holy
this system
shit.
totally serves all people and not just themselves.
Let's pump. What is it? $36 billion a day or something over the past 2 months into their economy. They've done like almost $3 trillion of.
That's
like,
insane.
This is printing money?
Yeah, in the States. Quantitative easing in the States.
Jesus.
Just crazy, man.
TikTok, buddy.
Yeah.
I tell you.
TikTok's going to save us all.
I just love that he's getting
Is it?
bullied by teenage girls. That's awesome.
Was TikTok the first one to do that crazy ass logo where it looks like it's 3D, but it's not 3D if you look at it long enough?
I have no idea.
Because I know a lot of other companies are doing that now.
I do not know.
You know what I'm talking about, though, right?
No.
No?
I think I know what you're talking about. Where
It's like
well, it
blue
just has
and
like a
pink
shadow.
and,
Yeah.
white and...
I don't know.
You never know that?
No, maybe I'm missing that part of the internet.
It looks like it's 3D. It's crazy.
Shit.
I don't know. It's so trippy. That's why they're doing so well.
It's because of the Plandemic,
Subliminal.
bro.
Plandemic.
Who knew that
Subliminal
TikTok was
messaging.
behind the whole thing?
Yeah. Just to get us addicted.
A bat was on TikTok trying to do a dance.
Yeah.
Somehow it got in some soup.
I think the best one is still that 5G is the
Oh,
spreader
yeah.
of coronavirus. That's
That
my
was-
favorite one.
That was like, because some conspiracies I'm like, oh, I like at least see where you're going with this. That one I'm like, are you using your brain? Like,
People are burning down 5G towers and shit.
Yeah.
that was funny.
Like, okay.
But, however, it is a little suspect that to install 5G towers, you have to wear like radiation suits and stuff when they install them. So I don't know.
But wouldn't that be like a radiation issue, not like a...
Oh yeah, it's not
Flu-like
coronavirus.
thing?
yeah, exactly. Well, but
Well,
that's
he's got 3 arms, but he doesn't have a flu.
yeah, idiot. Yeah, it's not coronavirus.
Yeah, the fish in the nearby river don't look like conventional fish. But do they have the
Yeah.
flu? No.
Yeah, the fish look like the fish in The Simpsons.
I was just gonna say, yeah.
Exactly. You never had a fish eye? Try 5 per fish.
Yeah, no, that was a pretty.
That was a good one.
That was a good one. That one was funny, and that was like, what are we doing here, guys?
Yeah.
Like it was.
Yeah, this is the time to be alive if you're a conspiracy theorist.
Oh
Like-
man, they are having a feel. You know
There's-
what?
yeah.
Early on in this, I'm like, I wonder what Alex Jones has to say about this. So I go Infowars.com, and like the first thing you see is their like live stream or whatever.
Yeah.
And the words verbatim, the second I opened their page, were like martial law being put into effect.
Oh
and I'm
my
like, yes, this is the content I wanted. I got here and just
This is exactly what I expected.
yeah, it was so funny.
It's so comforting.
Did he sell a lot of iodine pills?
I don't
Oh
know,
my God.
probably.
This is like big thing. isn't
Yeah,
it?
so
I don't
many
know.
people are pushing these like cures.
Yeah.
Was that one of his things?
No, well, I think this is like this goes before this, but apparently like to like put in your drinking water and shit or whatever, put some iodine in it so that you obviously don't get all the whatever they put in it because the water's turning. I think in the words of Alex Jones, the water's turning the frogs gay or something.
The friggin' frog's gay.
Yeah, yeah. Not me. I didn't say that.
Yeah.
Man, how sad of a person do you have to be to like to get all the way down in conclusions to like it's making the frogs gay? It's like, what?
There's a bunch of other ones I went down. Apparently, the moon's a hologram too. Yeah, that's a good one.
What?
What?
Because apparently, there's like these waves that like come across the moon when you're watching it through a telescope,
Oh.
and like people are like, it's a hologram because it's like flickering, but like it's just distortion in the
Yeah.
atmosphere or
It's
something.
it's the atmosphere. It's something potentially flying by.
People who could not tell you how a hologram does what it does, they're like fucking hologram.
It's a hologram for sure. That's the sign of a hologram.
Oh, really? How? Because of the flickers?
There was some like condensation that was on the SpaceX rocket or something, and it looked like a mouse running around. So people were like, "That's a mouse. This is
That's
filmed
a
in a
mouse."
studio." It was amazing. I think people like. Don't get me wrong. Some of them are hilarious, but at least people are like also asking questions. I guess
I guess.
if there's
If
a positive to this,
If there's anything that makes people like reasonably skeptics of like the news, the
norm.
establishment, what
Yeah.
they say,
collective knowledge.
yeah, this would be it because we have all this like expert analysis. Then the next day it's like, oh, never mind all that stuff.
Yeah.
Right. So
Yeah, from
True.
the people that you like still have some semblance of trust in. We're like, it can't happen this way, and then a day later they're like, oh, it can actually.
yeah.
If you weren't sure, don't fucking say anything.
Yeah. Why? Yeah. Now everyone's gonna be a little doubtful of expert opinions.
Well, and the constant like attack on the media as like the enemy of the people. Any mistake is magnified to be like, see,
Uh-huh.
see what they did, caught him red-handed.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
You know, like the One America News Network or whatever. On the other hand,
Yeah, I don't know. I just like flipping between it's like Fox News and like CNN, for example. It's just like I guess you get both sides of the story.
Yeah.
Well, and
two
most
movies,
extreme
same
side,
screen.
yeah.
yeah, and I think you sort of alluded to it earlier. Is like both sides are a farce.
Yeah.
Like the sort of like not even extreme anymore. What would have been kind of like extreme ideologies on either side are now sort of like the kind of mainstream.
Yeah.
And they're both nuts. You don't want to identify with either because you're like, I'm more side over here, but this.
Yeah.
And you're like,
Yeah.
what the fuck is going on?
Yeah.
I think we'll see the end of the binary two-party system in our lifetime, probably.
Yeah, it's possible. I mean, I think the further we get apart ideologically, the more likely that is, right? Because
I think so. Yeah,
like it's wild.
it's fascinating.
It's wild to watch.
We are living history.
Things. Yeah,
We are
yeah,
living
well,
I
it's
think
true,
so.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the sort of wars are being fought in a much different way.
Yeah.
It's like
information
information,
and
misinformation,
ideas. Yeah.
control of media, control of the narrative to as much of a degree as you can.
Yeah.
A disrespect for like any law that might stand in your way,
Yeah.
and like, oh man, listening to him pander is just the fucking most painful. Like, I'm with law enforcement. You're just like, dude, shut the fuck up. You have no idea what you're talking about, except that you're the type of person who wouldn't rent to minorities. Like, that's the only, like, you both hate them. That's the only thing you have in common. Like,
No.
I don't know. Because you
I
just
always-
know as people are eating it up.
Yeah. I always float the idea though. It's like who owns the major news corporations, and then they're for-profit companies.
But the person that owns the major news organizations is so far removed from the front lines of his or her media organizations that like the maybe there's the odd time where they step in and kill a story, but like the day-to-day kind of business isn't like you got this billionaire looking over your shoulder with the copy desk. You know, like I think that's kind of
holding the
overplayed a
gun
little
to your
bit.
head? I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like when I worked for like a radio station perceived as very right wing, most of the people that worked there were way more like were definitely left leaning. That but it had a reputation as like very, and so I would also hear people being like, oh well, there's this bias, and it's like fucking find the bias in this shit. Like when I'm
Interesting.
yeah, because they assume that because there's this association with your organization that everyone in the organization is like some like militant right wing. Well, like, yeah, it's an interesting like concept of like how much can you trust, because someone's got to own it, right? There's no way for it to be independent of ownership.
Some sort of, I mean, the
It's just not
humans
possible.
involved will put some sort of human touch and influence and human bias on it at some point down the line.
But
right?
the idea is supposed to be that within your story you've sort of laid out both sides and you're not editorializing.
But I feel like that's
gone out the fucking
It's
like,
changed.
door,
that's
though.
what
Certainly has
we're-
changed.
I
Yeah.
think journalism is
Yeah, that's failing right now. for
changed,
sure.
is gone, whatever you want to say, where even when you read an article, it's almost like I remember learning in like high school, junior high, something where like you kind of write like an essay or whatever, like a 2, 1, 3, where you kind of lead with something, then you kind of taper off, and then you like finish with a big closer or whatever.
Yeah.
But it's almost like a reverse pyramid where it's like outlandish headline.
Yeah.
Then like the first paragraph of the article kind of backs off the outlandish statement almost immediately.
Yeah.
Totally.
And you're like, well, what the fuck? Like, what is the point of this, right?
You know what my favorite version of that is when they're like, all these people are reacting on social media to something, and they embed a bunch of tweets, and you click on the profile, and it's someone with 5 followers and following 6 people.
Yeah, I was just
They're
gonna
like,
say,
oh,
yeah.
John Tremblay says, I can't believe this. And you're like, who the fuck is John Tremblay? Like, and it's like, because it's on Twitter, and someone wrote it. It's like not gospel, but like, hey, here's the pulse. Here, I got my finger on the pulse. Here's what.
Exactly.
There's a combined.
I'm on the front lines.
In these 5 tweets, there's a
I'm in the
combined
trenches.
followership of 500 people.
Yeah.
I'm like, wow.
Yeah.
But you see that kind of stuff all the time, and it's the same idea where it's like outlandish headline, and then you get into it, and you're like, who
this
are
is
these
actually
people?
a slightly more reasonable thing, or
Yeah.
even like.
Or like, this
By
is
the-
a non-story.
Yeah, by the end of the article, it's like basically, oh, that ridiculous thing we just said mostly isn't true, and you're like, what the fuck? Why did I click on this?
You
Well,
just
I was
wasted
paraphrasing.
5 minutes of my life, and
Yeah.
you got your
Yeah.
fucking 3 cents in ad dollars.
Yeah.
Here you go.
Yeah.
It's like that one kid in elementary school who's always like, yeah, I went to the movie theater at West Edmonton Mall and rode on top of the dragon. My dad knows someone or whatever,
and
you're like,
oh, really?
oh, cool. Mom, so-and-so said they rode the dragon at West Edmonton Mall. They're like, no, they didn't. Right? So, did you hear Twitter supposedly shopping around, like making it so you can't reshare an article unless you like Reddit or
I
something
did hear
like that?
I did hear that. Yeah,
Yeah.
some level of like the kind of terms and conditions idea where you have to scroll down to the bottom,
Yes.
maybe.
Yeah.
Which honestly, I don't think that's wrong. I think like the culture of just like sharing
People are
outlandish
kind of
stories.
headline
Yeah.
readers is what
Yeah.
we kind of always say, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah, my dad used to always make fun of me because I used to work in news,
Mm-hmm.
and so I'd be like, me, my dad, and one of his friends, and they're all like intellectual
Mm-hmm.
types. So I, from like throwing to stories like, oh, such and such happened in the world, so and so has more. I knew a lot of the headlines, and then I would just ask, I'd throw like maybe one bit of follow up in there,
Yeah.
and then just back out of the conversation, because I'm just like starting conversations that I know very little about.
Yeah.
But I just read the headlines, and my dad started to notice it, and he called me out on it.
Yeah.
and now you have a podcast which basically epitomizes what you just described.
Yeah, exactly.
And I don't mean you specifically, I mean all podcasts where it's like, hey, did you guys hear about this thing? Anyways,
Yeah.
let's theorize about it, but we
Yeah.
have no practical qualified knowledge.
It's a good way to make yourself like, if not sound, feel smart.
I feel like people feel they're informed, but they've never been less informed in their
Yeah.
entire lives.
Well, it's the whole an overload of information is
Yeah.
probably just as damaging as
So true.
An under.
an underload.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like the signal and the noise kind of thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly.
I think people, because there's such an influx of information, they feel like they're like really smart, but they're not really breaking it down to
Yeah.
learning anything from it.
And on top of the whole like, oh, mainstream media is fake, but this is real. So now you've got these like competing realities
Yeah.
Yes.
based on who you follow,
Yes.
and you kind of fall into this echo chamber of like,
Yeah.
these are the only things that could possibly be right.
Mm-hmm.
Have you ever theorized about how to get out of that echo chamber? Like, how do you do that?
You have to convince people to be open to hearing the other
Yeah.
argument.
Yeah.
And like it's at a point where people don't hear, like you don't hear arguments
they put their
anymore.
fingers in their
you
ears
hear
and-
you hear talking points being lobbed at each other.
Right.
Because neither side is like, I'm gonna come into this with the expectation that like maybe I'll learn something. It's just like, no,
Yeah. Yeah. That's true.
chemtrails. You're like, what? What?
The earth is flat, Jim.
Yeah. And like nothing you can say will even enter my ears.
Yeah. It's so true.
I think but that's kind of like the human condition. Like, it's actually very hard to convince someone to change their
Yeah.
opinion, right? To a
Yeah.
point, it's almost like if you're smart, you shouldn't even bother because it's kind of a futile effort. But
Yeah.
I personally would criticize more the education system in that it doesn't really make people critical thinkers anymore.
No.
Right? Or and we're not forced to challenge our own
Yeah.
opinions. right?
Well, I
So-
think the best example of that I've kind of grown into, I remember in my early 20s starting to like learn a little bit more about like the realities of like, say, Canada's history.
Sure.
Where and then to come to realize we were all sort of taught a very like, Canada's a melting pot. Canada's great. Canada didn't have slavery. Canada did. And then you start to look, like I'm reading a book right now called, I'm reading a book. You guys hear that?
Listen to this guy.
2020, baby.
Yeah.
It's called Policing Black Lives, and it's just all about like the history of anti-blackness in Canada, pre-Confederation, like basically from the very beginning. And like it's always been it's always been that like these attitudes have been there. Like from the very, 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 very beginning of like the settlement of here.
Yeah. But I also think like, I don't know what the solution is again, but I feel like, why are those preconceived notions there? And then I always like ask the question, and then like, what's the root of it all? And I don't know. I was super high one time, and I was and I actually greened out. But after greening out for about 25 minutes, I was like the most introspective I've ever been in my entire fucking life. It was amazing. And it was like, I was looking out the window. I was like, you got to ask for the underlying why.
It's true though.
I know.
It's true.
It's so true. So it's like, why are those notions there? And then it's like, okay, why?
Well, what's really crazy about this book is that I'm getting some of the whys.
Yeah.
And it's like, for example, like a lot of like white Canadians' first exposure to black people was like runaway slave posters where they're like wanted, like dangerous. Like blackness has always been associated with like hypersexualization. Like black men are like will rape you. White black women are like just morally, devious and all this.
Oh, really?
And so you learn this history of Canada, and then you grow up and you realize that maybe we're not, like as far as education, maybe we're not better than anyone else. Yeah. Where it's only in recent years that residential schools are part of the curriculum.
Yeah.
And we've come to find out what a like hugely impactful thing that's been on the country, on a people, and I really feel that we were given kind of a whitewashed. I don't even know if that is racist.
Yeah, it's like,
but this idea that Canada has
literally
always been
and metaphorically.
But this multicultural, like everyone gets together, everyone loves each other. It's such a nice. It's just because we're next door to the U.S., the most dysfunctional country in the entire world, that our shop looks nice.
Yeah.
But the more I read and the more I find out, the more it's like there's a lot more to find, and there's a lot more that we don't know, and you start to ask those like whys, and you start to find out, and you just think like it's like quite I'm not finished it yet. It's like quite a difficult read because just every page you're like, oh my god.
History is always written by the winner, right? So,
Exactly.
So,
that's a good point.
Yeah.
And on top of that, I would say history's pretty ugly wherever you go.
Oh,
it's
God.
going to be pretty terrible. Like humans have only been moderately civilized, if we can even call ourselves that, in 2020 anyways, like for a few years, right? Like,
but the whole conversation in Canada right now in the last few weeks was like, is there institutionalized racism? They're still saying at the highest levels, is it a problem?
Right.
Yeah. It's ask any, look out the window.
Yeah. I think it's, like,
we're not even acknowledging at like the top of the RCMP. I think Justin Trudeau admitted it, and then everyone was like, no. It's like,
admitted what?
Admitted that like there is some systemic racism in, policing or maybe the RCMP or in Canada's society.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of people that threw up their hands and said there absolutely is not. And like we all float through the world. We've all been around for a few decades. Yeah, it's like it's the fact that there's a lot of people that can't even get to a point of being like, we should probably
maybe we weren't so good to the natives in the past, right? Like exactly.
And just minorities in general, where it's like there's my point is I'm starting to see the very roots of some of this stuff, and it's just like, where do you go from there? Like you address the problem, fucking then what?
Yeah.
Like it's not just our quick like instant gratification society can't deal with like, okay, so this is going to be like a generational fix. Oh, I don't know. I got some TikToks to make.
Yeah. It's interesting.
Yeah. See, and that's actually a good point. Without like getting too super deep into the subject, it's always kind of my thought with a lot of any like, not just what's going on in the world right now, but any kind of like, let's say social cause of like, okay, assuming this is true, now what, right? And
Yeah.
like the this is where I'm kind of like burn the whole thing down, because we have this kind of like headline making clickbaity culture where it's like, let's rage over this thing, but no one proposes super practical solutions, right?
No.
Like it's kind of just this perpetual
And it has to happen
machine.
like this, otherwise we might forget
no one
about
does
it.
it, right?
Yeah.
So
Seriously?
because it's, a news cycle only lasts so
And
long,
and
right?
white people are just finding this out, while there's millions and millions and millions of minorities around the world who are like, yeah, this is what fucking happens.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's hard to know like what to, like, us, like what should our contribution to that be? Not talking, like letting the voices that need to be heard talk, or is saying nothing the wrong thing? And it's just like,
it's not enough to just be like, let's stop, like, there's kind of like there's an issue of compelled speech now, right?
Yeah. Oh
like,
God, yeah. If you don't change your profile picture to have
Yeah.
a filter
You know.
that
Yeah,
says
you
"I
hate- you
stand
hate
with
X
whoever,"
person.
yeah,
Yeah.
you're a
or
bad person.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Which I didn't get in on that, because I feel like that's a complete bastardization of a movement.
Yeah.
To be honest, like I think that I'm going like
It's also how things seem to happen now,
it's like
which is kind of
I'm
crazy.
helping.
Right.
You're-
Again, it's
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
this like hashtag headline culture,
Yeah.
right? Which is
Yeah.
kind of all driven by media powers of I don't know. I go pretty conspiracy theory on it, and not that I lean one way or another
Yeah.
truly when I
Yeah.
criticize the system,
Yeah.
right? But
I don't know. I've always been the mind that like the smallest minority is the individual. So
Yeah.
how do you fix things is like yourself, I guess. It's like
Yeah.
you can't really change.
you can only control what you
yeah.
yourself
You
do.
can't
truly.
change. You
Yeah.
can't change a society. You can only change the self.
Yeah.
So at that point, you essentially go in internalize, and you say, you ask yourself a bunch of questions and say, how do I help?
Probably the hope is that like each person, like you just say,
Yeah.
has that thought, and then the next time they come across something in their life, like someone they know or a relative or whatever saying something, that they say something
Yeah.
and try to make, because again, you can't change another person, but you can say, I think that's fucked up.
Sure.
And the more people say, just to give a little nudge, like, hey, like, come on, man,
Yeah.
let's fucking tone it down, buddy. Just even like the way like calling people gay
Right.
as an insult is not. It's like I'm
That
sure it's
is-
still out there,
you
but
know,
it's gone.
That has kind of, and I was thinking about that recently, where like that was kind of that, and using the F word to call your buddies whatever. Like
Yeah.
people just don't really use those words anymore.
It's
right?
sort of gone out
It's
of.
just
Yeah,
it's out of style, I guess, right? Like in perhaps
Yeah.
a good way, I
a
guess.
good
right?
way.
So
but that I
don't know.
I never actually thought about that, but yeah, that's one that went from like mainstream insult to being like,
Yeah,
guys,
shouldn't
like
say that,
someone
right?
someone
So-
says it and you go like,
Yeah.
like at a hockey game, if someone yells that out, everyone in the section is gonna look around like, seriously, dude.
yeah,
So
they
maybe,
actually in men's league they kick you out for calling people
yeah?
the F word and shit. So
Huh.
yeah,
that's good. I mean,
I guess,
it's
right?
it's those like little things that have to happen, right? Where like
Yeah.
some guy will risk or will not risk getting kicked out of a men's league game, and like maybe maybe that doesn't stop him from hating someone, but it like stops it from happening out loud, and racism goes back to like behind closed doors.
right.
I was gonna say like the blatant racism, like that's like 1% of people though. Like I think
it's
most,
less and less and
yeah,
less.
like I think like there's fucking idiots everywhere. Like, but the blatantness of it is not
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
you know, like,
But at the same time, people like I've never seen more alt-right, like neo-Nazi marches and people and headlines and what like. There's platforms for it now that didn't exist before, which is the scary part because you just find a bunch of like-minded individuals and you got yourself a little group,
yeah,
which is like, and we're sort of, I'm sure that has all existed for a long time under the sort of. Under the radar a little bit, but now that race relations are such a huge thing, we're starting to realize that like, holy, all these people like in my city are like fucking racists, or are like not what I like associate my city with, kind of thing.
I think it's all a distraction though, Because I think that at the end of the day, it's not really like, I don't think the vast majority of people hate each other. I think it's like,
No.
when you get really down to it, it's like rich versus poor. And
Yeah.
that's the distraction.
Well, yeah.
And when you actually get down to it, and were people to march against the 0.00001%, maybe things would change.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, it's just this distraction of like,
Yeah.
you hate black people, I hate you, so we're just going to duke it out. And then they're up there eating their popcorn and just saying, these fucking idiots.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So
No, it's
that's my take on it, at least. I personally believe that, but I could be wrong too. I could be part of the fucking idiots. It wouldn't be the first time.
The reality is, yes, like it's a class thing. It's like a poverty thing.
Yeah.
But again, citing this book that I've been reading, it lists all these different ways that from the very beginning, black people have been pushed towards poverty and not have had like the same opportunities to. So you push them into that group, and then you attack that group, and then it looks like, oh, it's like a race thing, or but it's all fucked up. That's the problem.
Yeah.
The whole thing is a mess.
No.
Mm-hmm.
But there's people like us talking about it and stuff.
Yeah,
That's
I
a-
mean,
that's
the,
a thing,
the
right?
25 or 30 people that see this are gonna
But-
have their
like,
thoughts provoked.
yeah.
The only like you have to influence who you can influence, right?
Yeah.
Like you don't
True.
you have a I know our podcast has a very small listenership, but it's out there.
Yeah.
And like
Yeah.
if a couple people are like, I guess that is kind of shitty, then like maybe that's like good enough. Or
True.
Well,
True.
try not to be a total dick in your day-to-day life. When you're about to say something, think, would a total dick say that? And if it's yes, be like, I'm just gonna keep that one.
Keep that
Just-
one to myself. Yeah.
Like, are you a total dick?
yeah.
I don't think so. What are your thoughts on A? Oh, I'm a total dick. All that could be happening in someone's head, whether they're about to say something and they go, oh. We just need that. And maybe it's in those terms that it will resonate with people.
yeah, it's a good way of putting it.
Not
True.
like,
True.
speak unto others as you no. Get rid of like that's not resonating with people.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Don't be a dick, asshole. Don't be a D, a-hole. That
That's
could be City of Edmonton marketing
new.
campaign.
Replace
There
the
you
City
go.
of Champion sign.
Yeah.
with
Don't be a dick.
There you go.
City of Don't be a dick.
Yeah. Well, on that cheery note, should we call it an episode at that
Sure.
point?
Let's
It's
do
pretty
it.
fucking hot
Thanks.
in here.
It is hot in
also
here.
so goddamn hot.
Thanks for
Yeah.
having me, boys.
Thanks
It's
for
been
coming
fun.
back.
It's been
We
nice
always
to
appreciate it.
Yeah, it's been nice to get back into the swing.
This
yeah.
is 6 feet apart, so
Yeah.
for everybody
And
watching
you guys should be happy about that because look how much I'm sweating. You can see through my shirt, man.
I'm wearing dark colors, so it doesn't
I'm
show
like-
as much.
I'm like, there's something wrong with me, but this is how I live. I walk around in constant fear of like, holy shit, you'll be able to see my nipples on the drive home.